Hello and welcome, this is Noah with Nomad Gaming, and thank you for joining us for another video about the Marvel Champions LCG. Marvel Champions is of course a living card game produced and distributed by Fantasy Flight Games, and if you are looking for a place to stay up to date with your content for the game, new strategies, new decks, and of course gameplay videos, please hit that subscribe button to support our channel and to stay tuned for future updates. Today we are going to be taking a look at the She-Hulk hero and Jennifer Walters. We received some criticism and some suggestions following our hero ranking video for the middle of the year, which said that She-Hulk was not one of the top 5. A lot of people felt like she should be in there and that she has some really laudable aspects that we should take a look at. So we are going to take a look at that today, and then we will do some gameplay with her in the future and hopefully see if she slides her way up the power rankings for the next round. Let's go ahead and jump over to Marvel CDB, where we will be attempting to build today's deck. Let's start by taking a look at our alter ego. Let's make that bigger for you folks at home to take a peek at. We've got Jennifer Walters, who has 5 recover. She is an attorney with the gamma trait, and she has the ability I object, which is an interrupt. When threat would be placed on a scheme, prevent one of that threat, limit once per round. So this is already pointing me towards something that's going to be able to manage threat. It's going to give us part of our synergy here. This leans us towards justice a little bit. A lot of people play Justice She-Hulk. We'll take a look at that in a few minutes and talk more about that. Let's take a look at our hero side, though. On our hero side, we've got She-Hulk. She's got 1 thwart, 3 attack, and 2 defense. She is a hero with the Avenger and Gamma traits. And then she has the ability, Do You Even Lift? Which is a response, and it's after you change form, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So we want to be switching to She-Hulk and dealing damage, so we're going to be wanting to go back and forth. Want to keep that in mind as we pick cards from the aspects. Since we do have that initial synergy with threat prevention, and because we know we're going to be spending time in alter ego form, let's take a look at Justice first and see how we feel about that. Then maybe we'll get a little creative. I'm sort of excited to think about She-Hulk aggression, but that may come after we get the Hulk pack. And we have some more aggression cards that I think are going to pair excellently with this hero, but we'll revisit her shortly if that's the case. So let's see what we have here. Let's look at let's go through our signature cards and see what we have real quick, just to remind everybody, and for those of you who have never built a She-Hulk deck, you'll get your first time taking a look here. We've got Focused Rage as an upgrade. There are 2 of these in the deck. It's a 3-cost upgrade. It has a hero action that says Exhaust Focused Rage, take 1 damage and draw a card. So we can deal damage to ourselves to draw cards with this. We'll find out in a second that damage on She-Hulk isn't necessarily a bad thing. Superhuman Strength. This is a 2-cost upgrade. It says She-Hulk gets +2 attack, but after she attacks, discard Superhuman Strength and stun the attacked enemy. So we've got a way to deal stuns here repeatably. I like that. In our ally slot, we have Hellcat Patsy Walker. She is an Avenger. She costs 3. She has a wild resource, 1 attack with a consequential damage, and 2 thwart with a consequential damage. She has 3 health, and she has an action, Return Hellcat to your hand, so we can continue to play her. If we had a thing that triggers when an ally enters play, we could do that, or we could just reset her health so that we could keep using her if we don't have something better to do. My problem is that I often find I have something better to do than replay Hellcat. So interesting work here. Could be a build around. We'll see what we come up with. Superhuman Law Division, that's a hero support location. It costs 1. It's got a strength resource, and it has an alter ego action. So again, we want to get into alter ego form here. This is Exhaust Superhuman Law Division and spend a mental resource to remove 2 threat from a scheme. So this might be a deck building concern. We want to try to put mental resources into the deck to be able to take advantage of this. Let's take a peek at what else we have here. In the event slot, we've got 1 Gamma Slam. This is our big powered attack. This is a 4-cost event. It's an attack superpower. Hero action, deal X damage. Attacks. It is an attack, but it says deal X damage to an enemy to a maximum of 15. X is the amount of damage you have sustained. So how many damage counters we have on She-Hulk. is going to translate directly into damage here. The idea with this is to use it once or twice in the game to plow through your villain. So use your other attacks to keep the board clear and then smash with the Gamma Slam. But you're flirting with disaster because you could go over the top and die, so you want to be balancing out how much damage you take and how much you dole out. We've got Ground Stomp. This is a great broad attack here. It's a hero event superpower. It's a hero action. Deal 1 damage to each enemy. Note, this isn't an attack, so it doesn't trigger retaliate and things like that. So that is good. Legal Practice. This is a hero event. It's a skill thwart. It costs 0, but it's an alter ego action, and it says choose and discard up to 5 cards from your hand to remove 1 threat from a scheme for each card discarded this way. So we've got discard here. Maybe you need to have a little bit more cards in the deck. Let's see how that shakes out too. 1-2 punch, 3 of these in the deck. It is a 1-cost event. It's a skill and it has a response after you make a basic attack. Ready She-Hulk. So we could pile on bonuses to She-Hulk that we can take advantage of after she's attacked. That's an interesting one. And finally, Split Personality, which is a hero event. It costs 3. It has an energy resource, and it's an action. Change your form, so you can flip your identity card and then you draw up to your printed hand size. So this is again another reason maybe to have a little bit more than 40 cards in the deck. We're discarding cards possibly with Legal Practice, and then we're drawing a lot of cards hopefully with Split Personality. Note, there's only 1 Split Personality in the deck though, so you're going to want to keep track of that during your gameplay. So as we said, let's start with our, well, first we usually start with our double resources, so we're going to go Energy, Genius, and Strength into the deck, and then let's take a look at Justice. So in Justice, we've got some great stuff. We got a couple of new cards. Foiled just came out with the Doctor Strange pack. For 0 cost, you can cancel the boost icons. If you have not learned that canceling boost icons is good, I suggest you get the Black Widow pack and take that out for a spin and see how much you have fun with target acquired. Boost icons being canceled is a big game changer. Foiled is a free way to do it. I like it. It's cool. For Justice, removes a bunch of threat. See, looking at stuff that has mental resources, because we have a synergy with those. Stealth Strike is one of my new favorite cards. It's got a mental resource, so it might make the cut here. Great Responsibility, it lets you take damage instead of threat. That synergizes well with things like Gamma Slam, so not bad like that. Power of Justice, we would put 2 of those in if we're stuck in this aspect. I think we're going to go ahead and build this, so let's do that. We'll put Power of Justice into Interrogation Room, lets us remove threat when we defeat minions. Surveillance Team lets us just remove threat by taking counters. Counterintelligence lets us prevent threat, which is a big deal. Followed deals damage when we scheme away stuff. Heroic Intuition. Now, this is an interesting thing. We have the ability here with 1-2 punch to ready. And the implication of 1-2 punch is that you would attack again, but you don't have to. So if you attack 1-2 punch and then maybe thwart, we have a low base thwart on our hero, but if we add something like Heroic Intuition, we become average with the 2 thwart, which allows us to get extra value out of things like 1-2 punch, although I would rather be swinging with 1-2 punch, but sometimes there's nothing to punch. So Spycraft, that requires us to have a spy. We don't have one of those, so we're not going to play it. And Under Surveillance, that's a Justice upgrade. It's a condition, and it adds 4 to the main scheme. Let's see. Let's take a quick peek at Concussive Blow is another way to deal with things. It lets us confuse an enemy and deal damage if we use a physical or a strength resource to pay for that. Since we're going to alter ego mode a bunch, this could be really useful. Quake becomes useful because if we're in alter ego mode, she can deal out some damage. Daredevil, always high utility. And then if we're going to play counterintelligence, we're going to play Coulson. Let's go ahead. Let's see. Let's put 3 counterintelligence in. 3 Stealth Strike, 3 Great Responsibility. we're gonna be way over here. We're gonna cut 3 foiled, 3 concussive blow, and let's go Quake, Daredevil, Coulson. So this kind of a build, this puts us at 38 cards. We haven't done basics yet. Let's take a look at the basics, but with this kind of a build, we're looking to be aggressive. We're not looking to do some of the slower stuff like adding target value to our scheme or trying to clear a bunch of extra side schemes. There might be some utility in a couple followed and a Jessica Jones just to get maybe getting scenario dependent there, if you know you're going to have a lot of side schemes. Let's take a look at basic, see what we got here. In my mind here in basic, I like to default in Mockingbird for the stun. I like Nick Fury for the generic value. In this case, he's also got a mental resource, so we could use that synergy. Mockingbird's good. Lockjaw has a physical resource, which has some synergy with us, especially with Stealth Strike, or not Stealth Strike, Concussive Blow. And he can be discarded for value, so that's good. We don't need the damage from things like Haymaker. We might need the first aid, and it's a mental resource, so let's put a handful of those in to see if we cut. We don't need the card draw. Helicarrier would be nice. Free, if you get to play 1-2 punch for free, I think that makes people happy. Let's put one of those in for hold down. A place, downtime could give us extra recover. I like it. And then endurance gives us extra health. I like that too. Maybe one of each. We talked earlier about target acquired, but we're gonna play. I think we're gonna play foiled instead. The consideration though is target acquired does have the physical resource, so you could throw in a couple target acquired to use that physical resource, where foiled has an energy resource, which is not as useful to us at the moment. We don't need honorary Avenger. We can't play espionage, so that leaves us with 47 cards. We talked about being a little bit high. 47 seems like a kind of odd, arbitrary number. I bet there's a little bit of fat we could cut out of here, maybe drop down to 45. I could see cutting a foiled, going at 2 foiled, and then maybe cutting a Great Responsibility too. So those are utility events, so don't always have the use for them. That would give us a 45. That's not a bad build, I would say. The other thing to cut maybe is counterintelligence. You can only have 1 per player. Let's do that too. Let's cut that down to 2. We can fish for it with Coulson. And I'm really thinking about putting Jessica Jones in. I know that's going to give us 8 allies. That's a ton of allies for a deck like this. But when we're switching back and forth, it could be helpful to have all the extra thwart power. And then sometimes She-Hulk's not going to want to take the damage, so having allies to throw in front of damage is not a bad thing. We're at 45 right now. If I were to cut something else, it might be... Yeah, I mean, Jessica Jones and Quake are my 2 worst allies, I think, in this build. The stealth strikes are situational. That's one of the big downsides of it, so we might cut one of those if we wanted to shed some more weight. I'm comfortable playing 45 cards with She-Hulk. You do get the bonus card draw, really from being able to flip yourself periodically with split personality, or from discarding, or from, what you call it, you know what I mean. Nope, you don't know what I mean, because I'm thinking about it all in my own head. But from flipping back and forth, just naturally drawing cards, we're going to discard our cards. I mean, the other option is to go back into the basics here, and talk about like an Avengers Mansion to help us draw more cards, but I don't think we need to draw more cards right now. It does have a mental resource, tips us towards it a little bit, but I think this is the build we're going to go with. So let's get this saved. Then we'll run through it real quick again and talk about the whys and wrap things up. Let's call this She-Hulk. Gamma is good. Justice. Alright. That is saved. Let's look at the stats here. So we are heavily skewed towards our mental and our physical resources. We've got 6 cards and 5 cards that have these resources on them. That's 11 of our 45. That's almost a quarter of the deck. And then we've got some energy and some wilds. Let's see. I don't know what this is telling us. Number of cards from each aspect, I guess. So we've got 18 and 12. That's not bad. We could do sample draw. Let's do it. Let's draw 6. So we got foiled in there without an image, it looks like, and we got concussive blow. Let's draw it again. Let's reset. Let's draw it again. Let's see an alter ego hand. Let's reset and draw an alter ego hand here. That's not a bad. I mean, if that was my opening hand, I'd be fairly happy. We could get an attack ready. The stealth strike's pretty useless in an opening hand, so we probably mulligan that. We actually might mulligan this too. So I take it back. That's actually not the world's greatest. Let's see. Let's mulligan all of that. This is a decent start. We could get Daredevil on the table to start off with, or we can Nick Fury and then get Daredevil on the table, leaving Lockjaw in the bin for us to use on future turns. Let's draw 3 and see what would happen if we did that. Yeah, we'd be able to we'd be able to flip, confuse. We could flip and confuse. That's a fun option. Keeping great responsibility, taking some damage, putting on an attack. I mean, that's a power pack start right there. I like that. Average card cost seems to be pushing this 2 to 3 range, which is fine. We've got the ability to pay for it. We're probably going to play 1 card per turn usually, so that's not bad. Plus we've got the Helicarrier to bring down the cost of a lot of our stuff. I like that. Anyway, well, that's going to bring us to the close of our video today. Again, this is Nomad Gaming. We are so grateful that you've joined us through. If you've made it to this point in the video, do us a huge favor, subscribe to the channel to show your support and to help us continue to grow and provide this content. Leave us a comment down below. Tell us what you think. How do you build Justice? What are some of your favorite builds with She-Hulk Justice? And stay tuned for later this week or next to see videos featuring our deck, She-Hulk's Justice, and hear about any revisions that we make after we give it some playtesting. Thank you, and until next time, let's go game.